Starting stream. Good morning, all. Give me 1 second as I get set up here. Make sure I can hear myself on YouTube and on Twitch and Facebook. You might hear double audio for a second. Okay, that's set up. All right, perfect. I can hear myself, at least here on Twitch. And let's double check on Facebook. Cool, that is working too. All right, thank you for joining me. My name is Aiman Akhtar. I am a 3D artist in Los Angeles, and for the past 4 or so years, I've been specializing in 3D printing a lot of stuff. So that's what I like to talk about during my ZBrush streams, 3D printing from ideas to reality. So if you guys want to know a little bit who I am, you can go to my website, aiman3d.com. You can see a variety of 3D printed related projects I've worked on here, large-scale sculpture, small-scale and stop-motion animation, help printing and prepping other people's sculpts for, actual print and assembly, costumes, and I launched my own toy line too, Fungusaurs, little dinosaur mushroom hybrids. That is over here, and that's coming in 2 weeks in DesignerCon, November 16th, I believe. So that's my thing, little dinosaur mushroom hybrids. Try to make all sorts of stuff with those. Started with just the toys, prototype, 3D printed and painted, took them around, took a lot of photos, and then started trying to sell them at expos, and they're really popular, so we actually mass produced them. Did a Kickstarter, got them all mass produced, and now gonna get them out there. So what do I mean when I say mass produced? I can show you the latest, I believe is this one. Let's see. There's all the toys that arrived this weekend. Luckily, I had some my family in town. I could put them to work. But that's 16,000 toys that just arrived. So that'll be exciting. So if you want to stay up to date on that stuff, check out fungusaurs.com. Making a mobile game as well, like augmented reality mobile game to go along with that to bring the toys to life. So a lot of exciting stuff there, all in the dev diary, so you can check out the whole process, prototype to factory, and how we made the whole mystery box thing. Okay, if you want to see more of my previous presentations on ZBrush Live, you can go to pixelogic.com, ZBrush Live Presenters, and then scroll down. There's all these awesome artists. You can check out Shane Olson, will be on later today, I believe. Scroll down a little. You can find me, I think, in blue somewhere. There I am. And then you can check out the past broadcasts and schedules. And you can see I'm streaming mostly on Mondays, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Some of my work you can catch over here. If it'll open. Yeah. So like a 3D printed dress. Set up a business to do 3D printing from ideas to reality, people's 2D ideas that I help translate to 3D. And the Fungusaurs toy line. This is the prototype, and now it's actually finished. Oh, so I should mention, if you're gonna check it out, probably best to check out our Instagram, because that's the thing I keep most up to date. So that's instagram.com/fungusaurs. And done with the plug. But yeah, check it out. Alright, gonna snap out of that. So in the previous streams for ZBrush, I took last week off, traveling, but then you can see what I've been working on is this sculpt with my friend Ryan. He's a concept artist for Fungusaurs as well. And I've basically been trying to go stream by stream to go show you a project from start to finish, just starting with like really base blocking it in, to getting a little mini 3D print of it so that I can test proportions and then refining and then refining. So up till now, I've probably put in something like 8-9 hours. It's kind of hard because when you're talking, you work a little bit slowly. But about 8 or so hours into the character, and he's looking pretty good. I can show you what he looks like now. Still very much in the blocking phase. I haven't really touched the hair much. Tried to figure out like the appeal of the face, but still a little ways to go. But I wanted to take a break from this character today to focus on a different project just for today. Gotta do a project that I'll start and finish with you guys because it's Halloween. So I wanted to make a mask. So I have the scan of my face from a while back. I don't even believe that it's at the right scale, but just wanted to show you. That's me. It's a me, Aiman. Alright, so I've got a scan of my face from, I believe this was 3DMD. They've got a awesome scanner which can take a scanned photo of you like in a millisecond with like 2 or 3 cameras, and it like, you know, merges it and makes the finished scan and spits it out. So that's pretty cool. It's very accurate for very quick. But I can use this little head as a base to figure out the mask around it. So I'll show you guys some of the plan today, and then we'll just get started. And then I'll come back to Ryan's project next week and hopefully start tying it up more, because right now everything's kind of a mess because I've got my toy launch coming up in 2 weeks at DesignerCon. That's going to be something like this madness. It's a giant expo. This year it's going to be held in Anaheim with all sorts of, you know, how should I put this, vinyl toy guys with all sorts of, you know, artists that are presenting. It's at the same time as the CTN Animation Expo, but I'd recommend coming to see me at DesignerCon. And there's all sorts of stuff. There's big companies like Funko, Good Smile. There's also little guys like me that are launching our own products. So DesignerCon is the place to go. And Steve Wang's hanging out, the guy who made the Predator. Alright, so back to it. Let's see here. I am checking the Pixelogic Facebook stream and the Twitch stream. So if you guys have any questions, just holler. What's up, y'all? And I will try to answer them as soon as I can. Ha! I put it as a question like, sup, y'all? I guess that is kind of a question, isn't it? Alright, cool. Thank you for sharing the Facebook link. Kike? I hope I pronounced that right. Alright. Sean Lake, what's up, man? How's it going? Yeah, I'm doing a mask today. Joanne, how's it going? Alright, Zioak is asking, do the animals get painted separate or are they printed with color? So, I think you're referring to the Fungosaurs. These guys. So these are all 3D, these are actually the final toys, and they have been made in a factory, so they've been actually hand painted, all of them. If you scroll down in my Instagram, you can see a bit of that production process. So let's see, let's go a little bit further down to earlier this year when I was back in China visiting the factory. I think it's like before this, yeah. Here we go. So the toys were made injection molding with actual metal tools. The prints were used basically just to make the original molds, and then it's all been PVC plastic. And here you can see the toys kind of get hand painted. So I got a chance to help out a little bit, do a bit of hand painting, but the artists there are much better than me. At least at painting. And then there's just, you know, lots and lots and lots of toys. So what's cool about their painting setup is really well ventilated, a lot of light, and they have kind of an assembly line where each person kind of just has a masked off area that they only spray a certain area, and that's kind of the spray painting booth. And then the more technical stuff that's hand done that can actually be hand painted. Oh, and then there's the paint master dude, and this guy's amazing. He can pretty much just take a look at anything, like he's looking at a Jurassic Park raptor right now, and he can mix the paints just on site because he's just so good at, picking colors. Anyway, so that's Fungusaurs. You can check out Fungusaurs on Instagram and follow that. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. I'm going to get today's project started, which I want to do. Where'd it go? I want to make Scar. He's my favorite villain from Disney. And I wanted to kind of make a Scar mask and a costume that I'm going to 3D print. Now, Halloween is this Wednesday, which gives me today, tomorrow, and a bit of Wednesday. 3 days to print. So, in theory, it's possible. So I'll try to finish it up as much as I can today, especially during the stream. And we'll see how it goes. Let's see here. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Bam and bam. All right. So, how do we begin with something like Scar? It's going to be too much of a print to actually make it like an animation style Scar that's really big. Lions' heads are massive. But I did go see The Lion King recently, and they did something really cool. The way they display the masks, or the way they do masks, I guess. It's very stylized. It's kind of like wooden, but I really love their use of shapes and the style that they made everything. So there's like the big giant mask they have, and then there's also Scar. And you can see how they handled him. So he's a lot more angular. They have his iconic Scar. They changed his silhouette quite a bit to make him interesting. Because this stuff has to read for a theater audience really, really far away. So this is one of the basic principles of sculpture, is you've got to make it really strong, a strong silhouette. And you can see this one's kind of worn on top of the head. So it's kind of attached back here and then put on. But what I want to do is straight up have a mask that I can wear. Also bought a lion suit, so I can just kind of wear this lion snuggie. Just put the hood on, got ears. So basically what I need to do is make just the mask part of it and make it look a bit Scar-tastic. So there's my reference. If you guys haven't seen Lion King the musical, I highly recommend it. It is freaking amazing. I know it's a bit hard to get out to New York, but that's how you can see the costume for Scar on the New York Broadway show. There's Simba. So that's an interesting take on it too. Basically having it be worn above the eyes, so that way it's kind of like a crest or a hat more so than a mask. We might go for a more traditional mask. Here's another actor playing Simba, and another one. Alright, so not going to do something like this. I think I want to do an actual mask, so we'll see. Because this, actually I might try it. We'll see. We'll see. Once I get started, I might decide and play with it and figure out how I want to have the final thing. Yeah, that one's dope. I think that's supposed to be Mufasa. Yeah, that's Rafiki, that's Mufasa. Alright, so I'm going to keep my reference off open to the side. And let's jump into ZBrush, where I already showed you I've got my scan. So this is something I can build the mask on top of. Alright, so how to begin. I'm going to pull up my reference on my side again. Okay. I think the first thing I've got to do is just focus on the base shapes of the lion's head. The maw, the nose, the eyes, and the head. And then from there I can refine. So let's start with something simple. Let's just append, or you know what, I'm going to clone this, so I'm working on a clone. And there's no other subtools in this scene. I'm going to probably fill object with color and material. So I'm looking at this RS Sculpey. It's one of my favorite materials. Can turn off perspective as well. And that can make a huge difference for your sculpting, just to kind of get a sense of what it'll actually look like versus, you know, perspective mode. And let's start with appending a sphere 3D. I don't know where that went. There it is. Oh, I had solo mode on. So there's the sphere 3D. Let's start by just shrinking that sphere a bit. And I do want there to be a little dimensionality in this mask. Let's try to make it slightly bigger too. Now size-wise, I'm going to print this on my Raise 3D N2 Plus. That's the big printer you guys see back here. It's an FDM printer, about the same range as the Formlabs printer, which is my other printer over there, which is the stereolithography resin-based printer. They're both about 3,000, and this one is basically for the finer detailed stuff that's a bit smaller, and this one is for large stuff. I do have some prints back here. It's because it's not necessarily, you know, one or the other. For example, this is a print that's not that big, kind of, and you can see I already started patching it, assembled it together. This was printed on the Raise, and I've got the legs, the arms, you can see even some of the top of these pieces printed separately and then all attached together. But this is one print. Let me make this screen a bit larger so you guys can see it. Whoop! There you go. All right, so there's one print from the Raise. And once I've got this all patched up, I patched this with Super Sculpey. So the good thing is now I can just kind of heat it up a little bit, and all of this is going to get super hard, and then I can just sand it down and then apply a primer, and it'll really just blend in. So that's one made off of this guy. And the Form 2, though it normally prints pretty small, I'm currently printing this massive beast. Like this guy is... This is a client project, so I'm not going to show you too much of it, but he's bigger than the printer. So, like, you know, you can print in a lot of pieces and then assemble together as well. Yeah, I've still got a few pieces of this guy to assemble and then attach on. But you can get an idea of the quality. The Form 2's quality, I think, it's probably one of the top, I know, not probably, it is the top consumer printer that you can have as a hobbyist, enthusiast, or professional at home, desktop. All right, so back at it. There's the circle, and I'm going to go and to my clip curve brush, and for a second I'm just going to clip it. Now I could actually hollow it out on the inside to the specifics of my face so this fits perfectly onto my face, but I'd rather keep it a bit more generic on the inside so it'll fit on anyone's face. Right now I'm not going to worry about the inside since I really want to figure out the outside first. I want to figure out the shapes. So first things first, I just got to see where my neckline is. Make this video a bit smaller. We've got my neckline there, so I want it to be in front of my neckline, obviously. And now let's start sculpting. I keep pulling my reference up and then down on my second monitor. So I want to make sure I have that up. All right, and at first I'm just going to use the clip curve brush, and I'll turn on symmetry so I can work symmetrically. And I can just get the shapes that I'm looking for. Now, Scar has a pretty sharp cheek line, and lions do in general. So I kind of want to get that in there first. So that's the basics of the shape. And at any point that I want, I can kind of dynamesh this as well. So I have clean topology to work from. Probably going to do that shortly anyway. Okay, now looking at it from the side, I want to get a nice maw going for the nose there. And the eyes will be over here. So at first I'm just going to sculpt this a bit in super, super, super low poly. And if at any point I want, I could also just turn on Sculptress Pro, and that'll kind of just adjust the topology on the fly as I sculpt, which is a pretty nifty feature. So right now I'm not even, I'm using nothing but the pinch brush to kind of get me some of these shapes that I'm after. And then the move brush to pull things in and out. You got to be a bit careful with the Sculptress Pro mode on, because it really depends on the scale of your brush. So if my brush is really large and I try to smooth, all my detail gets crunched away. And if my brush is really, really tiny, you can check out the topology. It'll adjust the topology and make it really, really tiny. So I don't want, you got to find a balance. Alright, so back on the pinch. Now Scar's got a bit of a long snout and kind of like, like long face in general. And you got to give him his classic, like, evil villain eyebrows. Build in some space there for the eyes. Got those strong cheekbones already. And the maw, I think I wanted to have it come down a bit to become kind of a smile. Yeah, already looks super evil. Now I don't know how much of a chin thing I want to do. Like, actually have the chin be sculpted. We'll see about that. This is the beginning. Trying to get the side right before I attack the front too much. Just laying in some landmarks. And you know what? I should play some music. Let's see, you guys have any questions going on Twitch? Alright, so I got a question from Ziawak, or ZWK. What does the alcohol bath do? I think he sees the alcohol bath back there. So for liquid resin prints, you need to, they're not completely cured out of the printer. They're like 90-95% cured. So they're still a bit sticky. They still have resin. They're coated in them. So you take them out of the printer, you dip them in the alcohol bath, you shake off the excess resin, you soak them maybe 5 to 20 minutes, depending or more, and then you take those out, wipe off that alcohol, and let it cure either in the sun or in a UV container. All right, cool. Caitlin Sculp's helping me answer the question too. Awesome. Antonio Pereira, thanks for joining on Facebook. All right, you guys are solid. Okay, let's look at this from the front again. Now lions have all sorts of noses, but Scar is more of a specific kind. He's all sharp and angular. So I don't want to make this too poofy or too rounded. I want to maintain that angularness that makes him Scar. Right, I'm going to turn off Sculptress Pro. It gets a bit annoying sometimes. Now this is the main line I'm trying to emphasize, that nose line. But I always try to over-exaggerate and then tone down. So I'm just going to use the damn standard brush set to Z add. I'm actually holding Alt, because if I usually Z sub will just carve in, but if you hold Alt, it'll kind of push it out. It's true for most brushes in ZBrush. I'm going to throw some texture in there for me for reference for what's going on over there as well. Because I think the way they did it in the Lion King was they kind of indicated which way the fur was fluffing. It's kind of a cool effect. I may or may not use that. Always got to be checking from the front and the side. You don't want to get too attached to anything at first. Just coming in with inflate here. I've got all these brushes set to hotkeys so you guys won't see me changing. But the main brushes I'm using are, you can press I and then you can see inflate. There's that one. You can go in and press V or M, I think, and that'll lead you to move. That's that one right there. And then D, I believe, for damp standard. So those are the basic main brushes that I use, and I often use clay as well. Alright, so the eyes now. Now here's the interesting thing with this mask, and something for me to think about, is do I want to be able to see out of those eyes, or do I want to be able to maybe see out of the nose or something, right? Depends how big I make the mask. If I make the mask like super big, like that, and it's kind of worn above my head, there, I'll leave it there for a second so you can see, then my eye line is at the nose. So I might want to make holes in the nose so I can see through those. But I don't know if I want to do this because that'll be just too big to print in one go. And I don't have that much time to print it. So I think in this case, I'm going to actually make the eyes. And if honestly, if the nose was the eye, then I'd have this whole hollow where I wouldn't be able to see at all peripheral vision. I'd only be looking through these little nose slits that are kind of in front of my face. So I might prefer the eyes. They'll be right at my face, in theory. Now I can change the profile along the side as well. And again, push that angularness and that jaw out for scar. Bit of pointiness going on at the bottom. I was going to put on music and I completely forgot. The reason Scar is one of my favorite Disney villains is just he's so iconic. Like, he's played by the iconic Jeremy Irons. He's voiced by him in the animated movie. And he's such a believable character. Like, you can see that, you know, villains really have some of the best storylines. Especially with a villain like Scar. Got injured, didn't get to be king, always has this ambition, so for 10 years or more decades, he just plots and plots and plots until he can get what he wants. Alright, so I'm going to come in here with the eyes, and these eye slits aren't going to be very massive. I'm going to keep them relatively small, because beady little eyes, though it'll make it a bit harder for me to see, it's going to make it a lot more, lot stronger for the character. Now I got to make sure, now this is a challenge with making masks, I got to try to make these eyes line up with my eyes, which may actually ruin the look of the mask, or the appeal of it. But let's just try moving it around and see. Yeah, that already looks like a very different lion. That looks like Manny from like Madagascar. You know what I mean? So very, very different already. By trying to look out through the eyes, it just changes everything. Hold on. I'm going to try a couple of things. I'm going to duplicate this so I have the previous version. Turn on transparency mode. Do that again. The larger brush. And to try to maintain some of that, those shapes, that long nose that I liked. gaunt chin. Maybe I'll get a little bit more, a little less gaunt, so it actually covers my chin. A little more rounded at the head up at the top. Maybe I'll make the eyes just larger in order for it to be a bit less. It'll be less scary with the eyes larger. It'll be more comic-y, cartoony almost, but at least I'll be able to see more. Trying to define some more features slowly. It's getting a bit too rounded, and I don't want that again. It'll be a bit back and forth, I'm sure. Of course, I need to add Scar's iconic scar. This is kind of cool. When I lift his cheeks up, he looks like he's permanently smiling, like he's permanently plotting something. It's kind of the opposite of me. What you see is what you get. That's what they always say. Yeah, I tried voice acting once. I sucked at it. I'm going to go ahead and start dynameshing now. 128 resolution is too low. Let's try almost 400. Yeah, that kind of works. Turn off Sculptris Pro. Still trying to find the shapes and appeal, but I'm starting to get the main bulk of the character in there. Slowly. One cool thing about having a 3D printer is just being able to print your own masks. Actually, I haven't done it a lot because I just got this Raise 3D printer this year. Kind of like that. I kind of like that smile and that curved thing going on. I'm going to try a few more things to this character. It's something fun about having a mask with an expression baked in. Come back in here with pinch, refine some of this, smooth out some of this extra stuff. And right about now is a good time to save, because I haven't done that yet. Madman. All right, I'm going to call it Scar Mask 1. All right. 1-7 saying nearly looks like Scar from the Lion King. Getting there. Not quite there for me just yet. But let's see. Aaron Schmidt. What's up, Aaron? You should send a mask to Andreas Deja. I'm sure he'd love it. I know he would. Mossy Jenny from Thailand. Hey, what's up, man? All right. So ZWK is asking another question. I have no idea how to pronounce your name, Ziwak on Twitch. Besides the cost of printers, are any printers cheaper to print on than others? Absolutely. That's one of the first things you got to learn about 3D printing is how to save cost. So the Formlabs Form 2 here, if I pull the screen up. Okay, so that guy, the resin cost about $150 per liter. Looks like this. Comes in little cartridges. And you put these cartridges, you slide them into the printer, and that's about $150 for that. And with that, you can print maybe 10 to 20 prints, depending on the scale you're printing. I think I have some filament here. Nope, not there, not there. Could have sworn I had a new one. Must be here. So the filaments for FDM look like this. And they come with like spools of plastic that is basically kind of like a fishing line spool. And those go into stuff like the Raise 3D FDM printers. And these are almost $15 to $20, $25. So material-wise, yeah, there's a huge difference. So it's $25 for a liter versus $150 for a liter. So that kind of determines what you can make and what you want to make. You know, like I don't want to make a $150 mask right now. I want to make like a $40 mask, material-wise, maybe even less. So yeah, hope that answers your question. That's why I'm printing an FDM. I'm printing on this one. And the quality is actually not bad. Like it's actually comparable nowadays. FDM printers are getting better and better every year. Haha. Aaron's also modeling a mask today. Awesome. Let's try to bring this up even higher. Let's see what happens when we stylize it a lot. Always fun to like go more extreme and then tone it down. Try to pull these out too. See what that looks like. Make the mask a bit more messy. Change up the silhouette. Doesn't look bad. Does not look bad. That's what you gotta do. You gotta experiment until you find what works. And then you use what works. You throw away what doesn't. And then you claim you knew all along. Great devotion, be connected. Now I'm making all these features pretty big because I know I want them to read well. And I'll add some asymmetry later on. Not just yet. Or I'll add more asymmetry. Dynamesh again. Just Dynamesh pretty often as you go along so that you can get clean topology to work on, especially as you make large changes. Now I'm going to start also making a little bit of a change here in my eyes because I want to be able to see, I want to make sure my eyes are there. So let's start by cutting a hole through those eyes. Let's see, I'll use something like Maybe a cylinder. You know what? Let's just actually append a custom shape. So I'll append a cylinder 3D. I'll divide it a bunch. Delete lower. Let's rotate it. Let's pull that out. Scale it down. Down, down, down. Move it over to the eye, the shape of the eye. Actually, let me try something. If I do a geometry, modify topology, mirror, and weld on the X, on the Z. Nope, it's definitely on the X. So mirror and weld is a weird tool. Like, I wish they had the option to choose which side it mirrored, but I think it only mirrors from left to right. There. See, if I click mirror and weld when this was over here, it works. Because I just want to do the one eye and then have it fix itself for the other one. Okay. Dynamesh this as well. Smooth it out a bit. So it's basically going all the way through the mask, so I know that I can get a cutout negative shape through there. That's what I want. Just a cutout shape. Now it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to refine the eyes anyway. I just want that hole cut out. So I could start. Might make this a bit smaller. As long as it's going through the mask, it's good. And now, let's mirror and weld it. So I'll go to Geometry, Modify Topology, Mirror and Weld. So I've got it on both sides. And I'll use it as my cutter. So let's duplicate both of these. Always a good idea to duplicate when you're about to do a big change. And I'll set this as the cutter. So I'll click on that half moon shape. And I'll also click on Group as Dynamesh Sub. That's under Polygroups in the tool menu. Group as Dynamesh Sub. And if you have polygroups on, you'll see is when you click that button, the color will go away. Just kind of mutes it out. That's how you know it's been a polygroup sub. And I'll just press Control W to make sure all of my mask is one group. And then I'll merge down onto my cutter. And I will Dynamesh. And now Dynameshing this should just cut these out. Yep, did the trick. So there you go. Now I've got eye holes. And now I can see my own eyes. And I know what to look for. So I might actually change this a little bit there. Want to make sure that I can see. Playing around with the different shapes. Yeah, live booleans are solid. I actually didn't even think about using those right now. Live booleans basically let you see what the boolean is going to look like before you cut. Now, I've done this so many times, I kind of know what it's going to look like. But if you have that button on, the half moon item, you can go to Render, and under Booleans, click Live Boolean. And what that'll do is it'll show you what that cut's going to look like, and you can still continue sculpting on the fly and move that hole, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, live booleans are awesome. But I got my hole. Got what I needed. Moving things around. Moving and shaking. Alright, 8:45. Let's see how far we can get on this for the end of the day. Now, it's looking cool, and I'm getting some shapes, but I'm not getting the scar in yet. So I want to do a little bit more sculpting asymmetrically before I add in that scar. But I want to make sure I'm getting this nice and angular. I'm just trying different things out. Yeah, move brush is probably my favorite to just try things out. See if it's working, keep it. If it isn't, undo. Undo, 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 undo. You know, I think another reason I really like Scar as a character is that Be Prepared song. I always like to be prepared. I should play that. I wonder if I'm going to get in trouble by YouTube police for playing copyrighted song though. Because Disney's pretty harsh about that stuff. Should play some music though, so we're not just toiling in obscurity. Mr. Mielo saying, are you making that mask for yourself? Yep, absolutely. Because you can tell, because I'm under there. That's my head. Bam. Let's smooth out some of this area over here. Trying some other stuff on the eyes to make them a bit more pronounced. Definitely want to take a look at them from a different angle as well. Because right now I've been looking at them head on. I want to make sure I'm getting their dimensionality. Much better. Just adding that little bit of eyelash makes it read a lot more like Scar. I want to enhance these, or enhance. I want to push these eyebrows a bit to make him even more, see, treacherous? What's the expression? Ha! That is totally Scar. But maybe one at a time. Let's see. Maybe push this up a bit on this side. And this one can be like a bit sarcastic. Simba. Playing with different ideas. Trying to see what I like. Let's see here. Okay. Another thing that makes Scar a bit, obviously he's a Scar, but his nostrils kind of curve back down, looking at the reference, which is kind of badass. They made him even more angular than you think. And his chin really needs to jut out there. That's a lot more Scar-esque. Now the mask, I got to make sure it's comfortable as well. Sometimes these lines don't actually help. It's kind of, sometimes you want it smooth because you only want your viewer's attention to go where you lead it. So a little bit is fine, but not over the top. Same thing here, I might tone these down. I might push this in. Nah, doesn't work. See a lot of damn standarding. Also try to break it up in interesting ways. Not just keep repeating the same pattern. One thing that's fun also is trying something like the spiral brush to add a little bit of twist at the end. A little bit more messiness. I don't think it necessarily helps, but let's try. Whoa, that's a scary scar. I like playing with the spiral brush sometimes because it gives you ideas that you wouldn't think of normally. There is something to be said about a little bit of messiness in it. Because he's not like the perfectly... He's not the perfect character. Going to try to make that eyebrow a bit thicker. Oh, thinner. Well, thicker, I guess. Thicker than it was. It's still pretty flat up at the top. I could try to move this head back a bit. Just for shape. I still have symmetry on, of course not. So let's try fixing it to be mirrored for now, and then we'll adjust it. So I go to Geometry, Modify Topology, Mirror and Weld, and it should just fix that for me from one side over to the other. Save again. Straw Street is asking an interesting question. Have you ever drunk alcohol while working? That's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, knowing me, I would have tried doing that. I think I've definitely tried to smoke weed while working. Thought it might help the creativity process, mostly got me distracted and watching a lot of YouTube and Netflix. Alright, Iniku is saying, hello there, greetings from Poland. I'm totally new when it comes to 3D. How did you make your own face in ZBrush? Did you scan it or sculpt? So this is a scan. This guy right here is a scan of my head. You can tell the topology is all janky by auto-scanning. But this scanner that was used to do this, I think it's called the 3D MD scanner. They're very expensive. Like, they're really cool, but they're like, I don't know, something like $50,000. You can see some of the resolution you can get on this scan. Let me see if I can find a view of it. This is what it looked like. So basically, it had a bunch of cameras pointing from two different angles, and then it would map the intersections, and then very quickly be able to capture, of an actual real face. Now, I was bummed originally when I started hearing about 3D scanning because I really liked sculpting realistic faces at the time. And I thought, well, there goes my job. And it kind of is true. There isn't really a need for people to be doing a lot of hyper-real sculpting of faces when a lot of that can be scanned in, especially with all the really awesome actors around. And so then it becomes a matter of, do you want to be doing cleanup, which is scan, cleanup, and then exaggeration and fixing poor detail and stuff like that, which is not necessarily my bag. So I've been going more stylized. But there is something to be said about becoming very, very good at something. Like if you become as good as Hussein Diba or Vimal Karketa or Ian Sprigg at realistic faces, you'll always have work. I think it's a matter of personal preference too. I really do prefer working on stylized characters. I like telling these stories with these expressions. Now I'm trying to spread this out a little bit in order to make it a bit more fun. Like lionesque. Maybe it'll be a young Scar. Nah. Doing pretty good on time. It's 9 o'clock. We've gotten a lot of the base blocked out. Ooh, I like this song. This is the Ghibli Jazz Cafe Music soundtrack on YouTube. This is the Princess Mononoke soundtrack, I believe, they're doing right now. I'm going to get rid of some of this lumpiness I've got going on. Which happens naturally when you're sculpting for concept like this. If you don't want lumpy sculpts, you gotta sculpt lower poly longer. But that isn't very conducive to concept work. It's great for actual stylized modeling for production. Try to stay as low poly as possible. Did you guys watch the latest season of Daredevil? What'd you think of it so far? I was digging it. Just finished it last night. I was working late last night and finished it anyway. I kind of like this Daredevil that has to struggle for everything, and like not the ninja Daredevil, like fighting ninjas Daredevil. That was just too much. The second season. And the Defenders, the whole Defenders ninjas thing was over the top. But to each their own, I guess. He's trying to add unnecessary wrinkles. This should be more of a brow ridge anyway. You need areas of rest so your eyes know where to go. I do want a lot of angles in this character though. More than you would have normally. I'm going to use H polish to do some smoothing out as well. Sharpen up some of these edges. It's a fun idea. Wasn't planning on doing that. It's kind of interesting. Nah. What I want from that is just the pronouncement of the eyebrow. So that's first laying in the line for where I want to pronounce it. And then I actually have to go in and pronounce it. Probably use Inflate for that. Want to make those eyebrows jut out, you know? Really speak to you. Dynamesh that. Smooth, smooth, smooth. I'm going to smooth all of that. That little noggin in. He's a smart character, but I don't want it to be like a big brain coming forward at you. Would be cool to incorporate the Widow's Peak somehow. I don't know how though. Alright, so you see how I over sculpted this and now I can kind of just go in and smooth it out. You don't need to see all that, but it is good to figure it out first, you know? Figure it out in your head. I'm going to leave that wrinkle down there. Just kind of smooth away some of the top now. Now that I've defined the plane. Okay. I'm going to pull up reference again, I think. Take a look again at what's going on. I'm going to make that lip jut out a bit further as well. Ha! Nope. Now he looks like he's speaking to Zazu. I do like the long nose, though. The short nose makes it look much more regal and very kind of actual, like Mufasa-esque. The long nose makes it read as more villainous. And again, I'm not going to have that line in there, but I'm using it to define the planes. Might leave a little bit of it in there. Give you a hint of where his lips are at. Pull these out a little bit, do some twirling. Ha! Adrian's here. Adrian Gerard working on a sculptive scar for work, so loving this. That's awesome. Adrian, I believe, works in Disney parks in Orlando, maybe? I might be wrong. But she does a lot of Disney stuff. I know that. Good luck, Adrian. I'm digging all the Edgar Allan Poe stuff you've been doing recently. Alright. Back in Twitch. What's going on here? You guys are talking about Daredevil now. Let's see. Please, no spoilers. I didn't give any spoilers. I just said less ninjas. Oh. Well, you know from the trailers that Wilson Fisk is the main bad guy. And you know from the trailer that Bullseye's in this season. I just like the relationship they've created between those. Season 3 was the perfect show. Good storyline, good action, good cinematography, good acting. Very well-rounded season. I'd say so. I think it was a bit slow to start. Like, it takes a while to build, and then it gets really good. Alright, Swixt is asking, what exactly are you working on? You must have just joined. I am making a mask for Halloween of Scar. So there's my head, like a scan of my head. And on top of that, I'm kind of sculpting this caricatured Scar, which I can wear out for Halloween once I 3D print it. So it's the idea I had, and now hopefully I'll make it reality. So I want to very clearly define that lip and then back down a bit. Because I think generally thinner lips are a bit scarier or more eviler. At least in classic context. So once I define that, then I can smooth that away. But, you know, doing that, at least it'll still be readable. Excuse me, I still have this cough for about 2 weeks now. This won't go away. Nah. Just trying to see if the lip would work, like having a little internal lip maybe. Like the idea of maybe dropping some teeth in there too, but probably no time for that. This is all about this jaw, though. Trying some things, giving him a bit of a bigger jaw than he has in reality, or in his animation, just to actually cover my face a bit. But it doesn't look Scar-like when I do that. He needs to have that snout, you know, that long, thin snout. That's what makes him Scar-like. Alright, speaking of Scar, let's give him his Scar. So I'm going to turn off symmetry now by pressing X. Go to my damn standard tool, or maybe an orb cracks tool would do better. ORB cracks. Let's just see what happens when we start scarring him. So the default settings look pretty good. Increase the intensity. I might change up the alpha a little bit. You can go under alpha, modify, alpha adjust. Just increase the contrast a little bit. That's not helping. Let's decrease the contrast. So just sharper a bit. See if I can make it a bit more hard. RF? No. Contrast, I think, would do the trick. Mid value, maybe. Let's try contrast. Yeah, there we go. That's giving us a scar. Alright, now let me take a look at his scar. Reference. Okay, so Criminy Sakes is saying, so what, Boolean your face out of it at the end? Kind of. If I Boolean my face out of it, it'll be fitted just to me. I want it to be a bit more generically on the inside so anyone can put it on. But it is, my head's there for eye reference, so I can see where my eyes are. Because I want to be able to see out of it. And then I got to figure out actually the practicality of how am I going to wear it. Something over my ear, right? Alright, when you did the fur on the cheeks, is there a reason you didn't use snake hook instead of move? No, just comfort. I think it's just basically, I was already on the move tool. Alright, so, scar. Let me look at his scar. Let me tell you how I got these scars. Alright, so it looks like it's not really on the eye itself. It's just on the eyebrow and then the cheek area here. So, I don't know. I kind of want to change his expression first, though. Like, it's too symmetrical right now. Just trying a few things. Tone this stuff down a bit. I'm going to mirror and weld first just to make it symmetrical before I make it asymmetrical in a bit. Alright, so expression-wise, I'm not digging that both sides have the exact same expression, so let's try changing some things up. I'm going to save and duplicate, and I'll change the expression, and then I'll add his scar. So first things first, kind of get rid of this eyebrow. And then trying something here, may not work, but worth a shot. Nah, I like leaving that a bit there. Let's try making this even sharper. Nah, needs a little bit of thickness in the eyebrow. Makes him look a bit more masculine. One thing I can relate to with Scar, long eyelashes. Got that on lock. Just trying to find ways to make it a bit more angular. That's good. That definitely helped. Also enhances the expression by leading you up. Oh yeah, digging that. Now, continuing with this. Eyebrow should stick out a bit, because it is a brow after all. Oh, did you guys start watching Castlevania yet? That looks so cool. Or it looks so well done. I saw the first season. I know I saw the second season just came out, but I haven't watched it yet. Hard to watch anime while I'm working or anything like that. It's too interesting visually. Trying some stuff here at the brow ridge at the end. These are interesting too because these are like normal crow's feet kind of wrinkles that kind of get turned into his mane. Defining the edge of that eyelid. And the top one might as well. Alright, 9:30. Don't think I can finish this up right now, but I kind of want to. Don't have much time the rest of today. Gotta work. Working these days for Sky Castle Studios, makers of HeroForge.com, on their miniature customizer for Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop gaming. I'm gonna check in with them very shortly, as soon as this is done, and begin my actual work day. Alright, I like that. There's more expression now. There's more vitality. That just looks weird, so I'm gonna smooth it out. Smooth out all of this. A nice smooth plane. Do want this to be a bit more readable though, so maybe do something like that. No, I'll pinch that together. Need something there, for sure. Just don't know what yet. So weird to sculpt Scar while Totoro is playing. Alright, the hell with copyright. I'm gonna play Be Prepared for a second. Okay. Here. Hum. 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 No. Hours of retention. Ah. Ha! Krimi 6 just talked to Hero Forge at Gen Con. Nice. Andrew Well Big joined. What's up, Andrew? Adrian saying a mix of happy Disney and macabre Poe keeps me emotionally balanced. I dig that. So, dude, would you be rewarded when at last I am given my dues? Deliciously square. Be prepared. To king of the all-time adored. Of course, quid pro quo, you're expected to take certain duties on board. I don't know how many times I've seen The Lion King. Too many. You won't get a sniff without me. Be prepared for a murkiest, ridiculous plan to mess up this plan. The king of denial, stately white isle, the king undisputed, respected, saluted, and see all wonder I am. These my teeth and ambitions are bare. Be prepared. I love that song. That's me in the shower a lot of the times. I'm singing Be Prepared and like other Disney songs. Okay, we're not doing Hakuna Matata. Okay. Excuse me. All right, see in the Twitch chat you guys are talking about printers. The Form 2 and the Prusa. Yeah, if you guys want to look up, want a quick guide to 3D printers, I always recommend this guide. Let's see if it's still up. 3D Printing Guide by 3D Hubs, I believe. Yeah, so 3D Hubs does this best printer guide every year, which is pretty solid. And it shows you the whole range, like the prosumer, workhorse, budget, plug and play. And it shows you the whole range of like, you know, the price and what people have reviewed and like what they've said about it, print quality. So yeah, a bunch of stuff on here to check out if you guys are interested in pursuing 3D printing. Yeah, I'm more in the prosumer range, so I'd love to get an Ultimaker. I was talking to the Ultimaker guys at what do you call it, ZBrush Summit just now. But I have a Raise 3D N2 Plus, which is a bit larger, and a Form 2, so I'm kind of set for printers for right now. One Seven saying I went to see Lion King live last year. Same here, man. I went in February this year. It's pretty solid. Went right after Toy Fair. Just trying different treatments on the hair, trying different ways to make it more, what's the word I'm looking for? Sharp and angular. Everything should be sharp and angular about Scar. More rounder, the more baby face you make him, the more he's going to look friendly. But I guess that is a bit of it in Scar. He's kind of a scheming character, so he comes to you as your friend, and then he drops you from the cliff. Okay. Makes me sound psychopathic right now. Promise I'm not. Only on Mondays. Mondays make me psychopathic. Nah. Nah. Try adding some spirals or some fun stuff into the mask, just to make it a bit more interesting. The secret with hair is big to small, and just spiraling. Go from one end up to the other. Don't just go straight lines. Straight lines get boring. And change up the thickness of everything. So if you've got a couple of, lines here that are going parallel to each other, just don't make the third one parallel. Or even don't even make the first two parallel, if you can avoid it. And I lost my music because I got caught up, and then Hakuna Matata came on. I forgot all about it. I'm going to save again. Gotta remember to keep saving. ZBrush saying, Hereford seems like a cool idea. No, it is a fascinating idea. These guys definitely cornered the 3D printing niche for tabletop gaming early on. And so they became like the people that were known for it. That's the thing to do. If you are interested in 3D printing, you got to think about the niches and targeting those. Don't just say I want to 3D print everything. The niches and targeting those. Don't All right, good. Audio's still working. Guillermo, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Met Guillermo at the ZBrush Summit this year. You guys should all come out next year. I think I'll try to be there again. Yeah, the summit's solid. It's a fun opportunity to just hang out with everyone again. All these people that I'm chatting up online and then actually getting to see them. Because a lot of us live in LA, but we're busy, man. We forget to hang out. All right, now just kind of cleaning up because I feel like I found a lot of the design elements already. So just going through and pronouncing certain things. That's not necessarily as fun to watch, I know. The cleanup part of it. It's fun to discover some stuff together. It's a fun idea to actually mess with his eye a little bit. Make it even more asymmetrical. Definitely helps the evil angle. But then it adds too much asymmetry and I want to be able to see out of the mask, so I'll keep the eyes intact. Just the eyebrows. Could really make him smile. Give him that Joker smile. That's too much. You definitely got to find out what's too much. Best way to do that is by doing it. Push and pull. See, this is also getting a bit too far outward. So I might be poking people and stuff, which I don't want to do. All right, let's start actually making it into a mask now that we've actually got a lot of the shapes figured out. I'm going to save this again, duplicate it again. And now what I want to do is cut out, like, basically cut out my face. But let's do a little work on my face first. So, solo this out. I'll Dynamesh this. Smooth the heck out of it. Dynamesh again. Smooth the heck out of it. And I might inflate quite a bit too, so that there's actual space for my head to sit on here. So I'll inflate. I don't know, like a lot, like 60 or something. Dynamesh again. And doing this is basically going to make it something that anyone can wear. And again, I want it to be symmetrical on the inside as well. So I'll mirror and weld. Dynamesh again. Smooth again. And now I'm getting a nice cutter that's going to be pretty even on the inside. So just to see where we came from, over there to there. Now I got a big nose, so I got to make sure it fits my nose, at least. And since it's got such a big area in here, in the mouth area, I might as well hollow out more area for the mouth so I have a pocket in which I can talk and breathe and stuff, you know? Let's kind of do that. Cut out all of that. Mirror and weld again, just to double check, smooth that out. Again, checking from where we're coming from. Eyes there. Yeah, I think that should be pretty solid. Let's see what it looks like when we turn on transparency mode. And I can see I'm cutting through the mask a bit on the sides, and I don't want to do that. So let's pull that in a bit. And you know what I can do now? I can live boolean. So let's try live booleaning and get only the stuff we want. Okay, so to turn on live boolean, you just have to turn on the half moon shape right there. And I'm going to go to render, turn on live boolean, turn off transparency mode, and now you can see the live boolean thing. An actual unintended move, but it's a pretty good idea, is to give myself some holes from which to breathe through. So those holes that appear on the side of the mouth are perfect. Let's make some for the nose as well, just in case. You know, breathing is nice. Can get rid of some of the lumpiness here as well. That's one thing you got to think about when making your ideas for reality. When you're thinking about 3D printing things and then actually making them, you got to think about think like an engineer a bit. And what I mean by that is think about functionality, think about user experience, and is it actually going to work? You know, like right now, all this, the inside edge of this is super sharp. So I know that's going to be sharp on me. So I got to make sure that when I do, you know, once I'm done sculpting this area, I want to make sure I get it nice and smoothed out so it doesn't hurt. Okay. Smooth that out, smooth that out. I do like this live boolean feature, which lets you kind of drop it, lets you kind of figure it out rather than just knowing how to cut. No one really knows how to do that by default, especially with these custom sculpts. All right, it's looking pretty solid. Like I said, I'll add the nose holes. And render boolean should be able to do two things at a time. You should be able to render multiple booleans. So let's save this again. Ideally, I'd like to be able to print larger, even in one go, because then I could change the silhouette a lot more drastically and dramatically. Right now, I'm a bit limited. Always thinking about silhouette and shape, you know? Trying to see if that'll make it more interesting or not. Since I have to cover my chin, it seems like a good compromise to have Scar's chin fluff stick out a bit more. Not ideal. I want to give him an even thinner chin, but again, thinking about engineering, thinking about reality. So I'll mostly do this chin fluff in the front, but the side stuff is going to help the silhouette quite a bit. I'm going to turn on my head again so I can see it. Make sure I'm not, oh, now that's just gonna, that's annoying. It's cutting through, the render boolean's cutting through all of it. So I can't even see my own head. That looks good. I think that'll fit well. It'll be breathable, it won't be in the way. I may want to make it even closer to my eye, maybe, because it will give me a little bit of tunnel vision like this, but it does allow me to, I don't know, I should move it in a bit. Let's do that. I'm always hesitant at first, and then I do it anyway. Turn on the render booleans again, see how much more we're cutting. Too much now. Yeah. That's annoying. Now, I think I'll deal with the tunnel vision a bit. It's better to like deal with a little bit of tunnel vision than to have lost the appeal entirely. But I did move it in a bit more. And I can still adjust this stuff. All right, so let's try adding another render boolean for the nose holes, which is what I was mentioning earlier. As you were saying, I was thinking about targeting this miniature dinosaur mushroom hybrid niche. I already got you beat by like a year, or almost 3 years I've been building my Fungosaurus brand. At least I got a copyright and trademark. That's what I can say. All right, let's get these nose holes in. I'm going to start with something simple like the insert primitives and move over to something like the insert cylinder. Click on my scar head, draw some nose plugs, and split those off. Split unmasked points. With symmetry turned on, I shall move those in. But first, let's just make them a bit longer. Just move those in. Let's make them cutters as well. Perfect. Done. All right, I'm gonna go to the clip curve brush. I'm gonna clip away a little bit. Clip away again. I want nose holes, but I don't want them to be that obtrusive to the design. Might actually just make it a nose slit, so to speak. Oh man, I love live booleans when they work so well. There, like that doesn't actually hurt the design in any way, you know, but it still works to give me the nose holes. Now it doesn't go all the way through, so I got to make sure they do that. There we go. Now they've actually got nose holes on the other end that I can breathe from. So yeah, pretty solid. I mean, I guess I could make all of this internal of the mask here, make all of that a bit cut out, but I don't think I need that much space, you know? See what it looks like if I do it. Like from the outside, it's not much different. So as long as it doesn't affect the outside shape, I'm down. But then actually the problem becomes then it's a bit harder to print because now you've got to worry about this extra bit. So I think this is good enough for me. This will still be quite printable without any hassle. Custom supports and such. All right, so let's send this to print in the last 5 minutes here. Not bad, actually, going from start to finish on a mask. In one stream, no less. Start to finish on a mask in one stream. Wasn't planning that, but we made good progress today. So I'm going to try to smooth out this eyebrow ridge so it matches a bit what the other eyebrow ridge is doing, even if it is doing something slightly different. And pinch again. And make sure it's coming out again. Yeah, like honestly, I could just noodle with this forever. I probably should noodle a bit longer, but Halloween is on Wednesday. It's coming up fast. I might hit up, there's a parade on West Hollywood here, so I might check that out with a friend. That's what I like about ZBrush here, is that I can keep sculpting even after I'm engineering. Keep refining and fixing and improving. But that'll go on forever. I think that looks pretty solid. Let's get this ready for print. Save this as scar mask 1. Oh, don't forget the scar. Duh. Thanks, man. Sometimes I'm in such a rush I forget the important things. Okay, so I got my custom Orbs Cracks brush. I'll start out here and then end there. So not really getting it on the eye so much. Maybe a little bit. Hint at it. Scarred. Could probably go a bit more stylized with the scar. Maybe just pinch that end in a bit. And there you have it. There's scar. Scarred scar. And the mask in the flesh. Alright, so now, in order to make this from an idea to reality, I got to print it, which means let's go to Render Booleans. And I believe that's in here, actually. Subtools, Booleans, Make Boolean Mesh. Now, I think this will do this based on Dynamesh resolution, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to crank this a little bit. Make Boolean mesh. And it should append it on as its own subtool, which is right there. Here we go. And all of this stuff has been made into one. All right, so I'm going to Dynamesh the whole thing again. Go to Geometry, ZDynamesh, and smooth out the inside of the mask. Like I said, I don't want it to be so sharp on me. Might have been way too much resolution. Let's go with 700. All right, and then smooth out the inside with symmetry on. And if your smooth brush isn't working because your resolution is too high, you can try to use the smooth stronger brush. So that's under Lightbox, brush, smooth, stronger, and now it'll just do it despite having heavy topology. It'll smooth a lot stronger. And you want to make sure you're not smoothing the other side of your mesh. If you really want to make sure of that, so you don't lose that awesome detail that you sculpted, you can hold Shift and under Brush, go to Modifiers? No. Samples? No. Why am I blanking on this? Auto masking. Here, backface masking. You can turn off under auto masking, turn on backface masking. And that way when you smooth, it shouldn't affect the other side, really. Double check that it didn't. It did not. Yeah. Okay, so got that nice and smooth. So that won't be so sharp to wear. And you know, one thing I completely forgot about is how am I going to attach this to my face? I should create some sort of loop here that I could tie a string through. So let's do that also. I'm going to add the primitives again. Go to 8-cylinder. Pull this in a bit. Give me some more cheek room to work with. Okay. Back to the insert primitive cylinder. Draw that out. Let's rotate it into place. And then I will make it a bit longer. And then I will make it a bit thinner. Way to not make it thinner from where I wanted it. Move it back into place. Move it up a bit. Might just inflate it this next time. Because I just want something to run string through so I can wrap it around my ears. Yeah, 3D printing isn't really a quick thing. You gotta take your time to think about engineering, otherwise you're gonna mess it up. I'm gonna split unmasked points here. So I just have these guys, and I'm going to go to deformations. Oh wait, let's Dynamesh it first. Dynamesh. All right, Silent Hero is saying, what orientation would you recommend printing this to maximize quality and minimize supports and overhangs? It's a fantastic question. In 3D printing, probably this is the way to print it upwards in order to keep things, you know, keep the lack of supports. But if you want the most details, you want to print it like this, because horizontal detail actually prints a lot better than vertical detail. So like if I print it like this, then the sides would look really great, but then the front would start looking really crunchy. Like it's gonna start having a lot of lines. So it's kind of, you got to pick your battle, you know. I might print this kind of upside down like this, so that I can not worry about supports. Most of these things don't need any kind of, there's not much obvious overhang, and then I should be able to print this just like this in one go. So the top might be a bit crunchy, and I'll fix that in post. Okay, 10 o'clock. Almost time to end this stream. But if you guys check in with me next week, you can see the finished mask. Or you can follow me on Instagram.com. Instagram.com, Aiman Akhtar 3D. And I post a lot of stuff in there, a lot of personal stuff, a lot of sculpt stuff. There's some stuff from the ZBrush Summit. But when I'm done with this, I'll post it in here. So you guys can see that there too. Or when I'm printed and it's all finished and done. Then next week we'll get back to Ryan's project and see how far we can take that to tie it up. Alright, so I'm going to continue working on this a bit off screen, but just know I'm going to cut those out. I'm going to set this up to print, and that'll be that. Alright, but I got to bounce to work now, so thank you guys for joining me for the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed that, you know, kind of freeform mask making session in a day. Let's see here. Any more questions? How to realize what is the real life scale of the object? You got to just plan it, man. Just have like a, you know, thing built in Maya so you know the actual scale. Bring it into ZBrush, sculpt around that. That's how I do it. All right, perfect. Thanks all for joining me. See you guys next week. And also, don't forget to follow my Fungusaurs, Instagram.com/Fungusaurs, because I'm doing the toy launch in 2 weeks. So that's exciting for me. And I'll talk about that more in the next stream, how I went about sculpting this idea of this dinosaur mushroom hybrid creature, prototyped it and 3D printed it, and then mass manufactured it. So yeah, hopefully guys you can show a little support there too. At least follow me. Instagram.com Fungusaurs. All right, guys. Next time. Cheers.